Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today to challenge a common habit that many of us have fallen into, a habit that is doing more harm than good. We live in a world where we have been taught to be soft, to accommodate, to tolerate, and to please everyone around us. But let me tell you today, this soft approach is not the way to greatness. It's time to stop being so soft to everyone. The power of tough love is something that we often misunderstand. We tend to associate love with softness, with endless support, and with always saying yes to others, but real love is not about coddling or enabling. It is not about avoiding discomfort or conflict. True love, whether for yourself or for others, is about truth, honesty, and the willingness to challenge one another to grow, even when it's uncomfortable. When we show tough love, we refuse to let the people we care about remain stuck in mediocrity. We refuse to let them settle for less than their best. Too often, we confuse kindness with enabling, and we confuse being understanding with helping someone avoid their responsibilities or accountability. When we refuse to challenge people, when we avoid confronting the hard truths, we are actually doing them a disservice. We prevent them from becoming who they are capable of being, and we deny them the opportunity to develop the resilience that comes only through facing adversity. Tough love requires that we speak honestly, even when the truth might hurt. It means holding people accountable, even when they don't want to be held accountable. It means demanding better of others because we see the potential in them, and we know they are capable of more. Sometimes it may mean pushing someone beyond their comfort zone, even if it feels uncomfortable in the moment. Real love does not allow people to stay stagnant. It forces them to face themselves, to confront their weaknesses, and to take responsibility for their actions. At its core, tough love is about respect. It's about respecting someone enough to tell them the truth, even if it means they might be upset with you for a while. It's about respecting their potential enough to challenge them to step into a higher version of themselves. This is not about being harsh or cold. It is about being firm in your belief that they can do better and that they should do better. It's about believing in them so much that you're willing to risk their displeasure to help them grow. The reality is, growth does not happen in the comfort zone. People will not change if we only give them what they want. Change and growth happen when we challenge the status quo, when we step outside the boundaries of comfort and face the challenges that lie before us. Tough love may be uncomfortable in the short term, but it yields results that softness cannot provide. It yields transformation, it fosters self-discipline, and it builds the character necessary for success. Think about the people in your life who have made the greatest impact on you. It's likely that those individuals were not the ones who simply agreed with everything you said or indulged every whim you had. The people who really influenced you were the ones who saw your potential and weren't afraid to tell you what you needed to hear, even when it stung. They were the ones who didn't give up on you when you wanted to quit. They stood firm and helped you push through your limitations. In the same way, if you are to become the best version of yourself, you need to embrace the power of tough love. You need to stop avoiding the uncomfortable moments and start welcoming them as opportunities for growth. It's time to stop softening the truth and start confronting the realities of your life and the lives of those around you. Don't be afraid to be the one who speaks the hard truth. Don't be afraid to challenge others to rise to the occasion. Love is not about making people feel good all the time. It's about helping them become the best they can be, even when the path to that best version is difficult and filled with obstacles. Tough love will not always be popular, but it will always be effective. The people who truly love you will be the ones who push you, who challenge you, and who refuse to let you settle for mediocrity. These are the people who understand that love isn't about comfort, it's about growth. And sometimes growth comes only through pain, discomfort, and challenge. So if you want to change, if you want to grow, then stop avoiding the discomfort. Stop being so soft. Embrace the power of tough love, both in giving it and receiving it, because it is in those moments of discomfort that the most profound changes occur. Life is not meant to be a journey of mere comfort. Too often we find ourselves chasing after convenience, ease, and the avoidance of struggle. We want the path of least resistance, the smooth road that promises a carefree existence. But life is not about comfort, it is about purpose. If you want to live a meaningful life, if you want to leave a legacy, if you want to make an impact, you have to let go of the false notion that comfort is the ultimate goal. Comfort can be a silent killer of growth. It lulls you into a false sense of security and keeps you from pushing your limits. When life is too easy, when everything is handed to you on a silver platter, you stop challenging yourself. You stop striving. You stop evolving. The truth is, comfort zones are prisons of our own making. They keep us safe, but they also keep us small. They prevent us from stepping into the greatness we were meant for. If you are always seeking comfort, you will never find the true fulfillment that comes with living a life of purpose. Purpose, on the other hand, demands something from you. It requires discipline, hard work, sacrifice, and most importantly, a willingness to face discomfort. It requires that you step outside of your comfort zone and take risks. It calls for you to get up when you fall, to keep moving when the path is hard, and to stay focused on your goal, even when the road is unclear. A life of purpose is one that is constantly challenging you, constantly pushing you to be better, to do better, and to become more than you were yesterday. Purpose doesn't allow you to settle for mediocrity. It doesn't say stay in your comfortable little bubble and everything will be fine. Purpose calls you to greatness, to the highest potential of what you can become. It asks you to contribute to something greater than yourself, to make a difference in the lives of others, and to leave your mark on this world. It is not about how easy life can be, but about how much you can give, how much you can grow, and how much you can achieve. When you live for purpose, you embrace the challenges that come with it. Every obstacle is an opportunity to learn. Every setback is a lesson in resilience. Every failure is a stepping stone towards success. And through it all, you realize that purpose is not just about the destination, it's about the journey. The challenges you face, the struggles you endure, and the strength you build along the way are all part of the process that shapes you into the person you are becoming. We often hear people say they want to live a life of meaning, yet they shy away from the very challenges that would allow them to fulfill that meaning. They avoid risks, refuse to step up to the plate, and stay stuck in their comfortable, predictable routines. They want the rewards of purpose without the price that must be paid. But that's not how purpose works. Purpose requires you to take action, to make choices that are hard, and to do things that might scare you. Purpose requires you to stretch yourself, to go beyond what you think you are capable of, and to constantly evolve. Living a life of purpose is not easy. It's messy, it's challenging, and it's often uncomfortable. But it is also rewarding in ways that comfort can never be. It brings fulfillment that nothing else can provide. Comfort may bring temporary pleasure, but it can never give you the satisfaction of knowing you are living in alignment with your true calling. Comfort might make you feel good in the moment, but it will never provide you with the lasting sense of achievement that purpose brings. When you choose purpose over comfort, you are making a conscious decision to prioritize your growth and your contribution over your temporary ease. You are choosing to live a life of significance, one that impacts not only your own world, but also the lives of others. You are choosing a path that is not always easy, but it is one that leads to true fulfillment. And when you walk that path, you will find that the discomfort along the way is not something to fear, but something to embrace as part of the process that shapes you into who you were meant to be. In the end, the decision is yours. You can choose comfort, and you can live a life that is predictable, safe, and ultimately uninspiring. Or you can choose purpose and live a life that challenges you, that grows you, and that pushes you to be the best version of yourself. The choice between comfort and purpose is the choice between living a life of mediocrity or living a life of extraordinary significance. So ask yourself, what do you really want out of life? People-pleasing is a behavior that many of us fall into, often without even realizing it. It starts innocently enough, wanting to make others happy, desiring approval, and trying to avoid conflict. But over time, this habit becomes a dangerous pattern that not only damages our own sense of self-worth, but also stunts our personal growth. The danger of people-pleasing lies in its subtle erosion of our true identity and the way it compromises our ability to live authentically. At the core of people-pleasing is the constant need for external validation. We find ourselves trying to meet the expectations of others, constantly adjusting our behavior and beliefs to fit what we think others want from us. We bend ourselves into shapes that are not true to who we are, all in the pursuit of acceptance and approval. In doing so, we lose sight of our own desires, values, and boundaries. We start living our lives according to other people's definitions of success, happiness, and worth. The danger here is that we begin to neglect our own needs and desires. When you are so focused on pleasing everyone around you, you stop paying attention to your own well-being. Your priorities become warped, and you find yourself saying yes when you should be saying no. You agree to commitments that drain your energy, promise things you can't deliver, and make sacrifices that leave you feeling empty and resentful. In the end, you may find yourself exhausted, overwhelmed, and disconnected from your own life. People-pleasing also creates an unhealthy relationship with boundaries. Boundaries are a vital part of healthy relationships and self-care, yet people-pleasers often struggle to establish or enforce them. The fear of disappointing others or the worry that they will be rejected leads them to constantly give without expecting anything in return. They become so focused on fulfilling the needs of others that they forget their own needs matter. When boundaries are not set or respected, the result is often burnout, frustration, and a lack of respect from others. Additionally, people-pleasing leads to a loss of authenticity. The more we try to mold ourselves to meet the expectations of others, the more we lose touch with who we really are. We become actors in our own lives, playing roles that others have written for us rather than expressing our true selves. This creates an inner tension that can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. Over time, it becomes harder to distinguish between what we truly want and what we are simply doing to gain approval. We become disconnected from our own desires, passions, and aspirations, living a life that is a reflection of others' needs instead of our own. The fear of rejection also plays a significant role in people-pleasing. Many people-pleasers operate from a place of deep insecurity, afraid that if they don't meet others' expectations, they will be abandoned or unloved. This fear leads them to constantly seek approval, often at the expense of their own happiness and well-being. They find themselves saying yes to things they don't agree with, just to avoid the discomfort of confrontation or the potential loss of affection. This constant fear of rejection can trap you in a cycle of self-sacrifice that leaves you emotionally drained and unable to cultivate real, authentic connections with others. Self-respect is the cornerstone of a meaningful and fulfilled life. It is the foundation upon which all other aspects of our identity are built. Without self-respect, we are vulnerable to manipulation, mistreatment, and the erosion of our own self-worth. It is easy to overlook the importance of self-respect, especially in a world that often values external validation over inner strength. But when you lack respect for yourself, you cannot expect others to treat you with the dignity and consideration you deserve. At its core, self-respect is about acknowledging your own worth and recognizing that you are deserving of love, kindness, and honor, both from yourself and from others. It is about setting healthy boundaries, making choices that align with your values, and standing firm in your beliefs. When you respect yourself, you protect your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. You understand that you are worthy of being treated with decency and respect, and you will not tolerate behavior that undermines your value. The most powerful act of self-respect is the ability to say no when something does not align with your well-being or values. Saying no is an act of courage that requires you to prioritize your own needs over the desire to please others. Too often we say yes to things out of obligation, fear of disappointing others, or a desire to fit in. But saying yes when you mean no compromises your integrity and weakens your sense of self-respect. Each time you betray yourself by agreeing to things you don't want to do, you chip away at your sense of self-worth. Self-respect also involves being honest with yourself. It means being willing to face the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. This honesty extends to recognizing your strengths, acknowledging your weaknesses, and accepting both with grace. When you have self-respect, you do not shy away from self-reflection. You take responsibility for your actions, decisions, and mistakes, but you also honor the progress and growth you've made. You do not need to seek validation from others because you have learned to value your own judgment and inner guidance. In a world that constantly bombards us with messages about how we should look, act, or think, self-respect provides the strength to reject societal pressures that do not align with who we are. When you respect yourself, you refuse to conform to standards that diminish your uniqueness. You recognize that your worth is not tied to meeting other people's expectations or fitting into a predefined mold. Self-respect allows you to stand tall in your individuality and honor the person you are, rather than trying to be someone you are not in order to gain approval. Moreover, self-respect requires self-discipline. It is easy to get caught up in momentary desires, indulgences, or distractions. However, when you respect yourself, you make choices that promote your long-term well-being and success. You prioritize your health, your growth, and your goals over fleeting comforts or immediate gratification. Self-discipline comes from understanding that you deserve the best, and that only through consistent effort, focus, and commitment will you achieve your highest potential. It is a refusal to settle for mediocrity because you know you are capable of greatness. Self-respect also influences the relationships you build with others. When you respect yourself, you attract people who also honor your value. You do not tolerate toxic relationships or situations where you are being mistreated or devalued. Your self-respect acts as a shield against those who would try to take advantage of you. You are not willing to compromise your principles or your dignity just to keep others around. You understand that relationships should be based on mutual respect, and you are not afraid to walk away from those that are not aligned with your standards. In this way, self-respect establishes the framework for healthy, balanced, and enriching relationships. Furthermore, self-respect empowers you to advocate for yourself. It gives you the courage to speak up when something is wrong, to defend your boundaries, and to demand what you deserve. Without self-respect, you may find yourself shrinking back from confrontation, allowing others to take advantage of you or treat you unfairly. But when you value yourself, you find your voice and use it. You know when to stand up for your rights, express your needs, and protect your peace. You are no longer willing to accept less than you deserve because you have come to understand that your peace, happiness, and well-being are worth fighting for. When you have self-respect, you also learn to forgive yourself. We all make mistakes, but having self-respect means not allowing your past errors to define you. It means giving yourself the grace to learn from your missteps and grow stronger as a result. You do not hold yourself to impossible standards of perfection, but you hold yourself accountable and give yourself the space to evolve. Self-respect allows you to be your own biggest supporter, to lift yourself up when you fall, and to celebrate your progress along the way. In the absence of self-respect, we can easily slip into self-destructive patterns. We may seek approval at any cost, ignore our own needs, and allow others to dictate our worth. But self-respect prevents this. It keeps us grounded, focused on our values, and unwilling to compromise our well-being for external validation. It is a lifelong practice that empowers us to make decisions that align with our highest potential, regardless of external pressure or circumstance. Ultimately, the importance of self-respect cannot be overstated. It is the foundation upon which all other aspects of our lives are built. Without it, we are left vulnerable to exploitation, manipulation, and the erosion of our sense of self-worth. With it, we stand strong in our truth, honor our own needs and boundaries, and live lives of purpose and authenticity. Self-respect is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is the key to living a life that is true to who we are and to achieving the success and happiness we deserve. Discipline over sympathy is a concept that challenges many of our natural instincts and societal norms. In a world that often prioritizes compassion, understanding, and giving people the benefit of the doubt, the idea of choosing discipline over sympathy might seem harsh or unkind. Yet when we look closely, we see that discipline, though it may appear rigid or tough, is ultimately a tool for personal growth, success, and transformation. Sympathy, while important in the context of showing care and understanding for others, can sometimes act as a barrier to the development of strength, resilience, and the ability to face life's challenges head-on. Discipline is the ability to take control of your actions, thoughts, and behaviors. It is the practice of consistently choosing what is best for you, even when it is difficult. It requires you to make choices that are in alignment with your long-term goals rather than giving in to momentary comforts or emotions. Discipline teaches you how to stay focused, how to follow through on commitments, and how to rise above immediate gratification. It asks you to make decisions that may not always feel good in the moment, but that will ultimately lead to better outcomes in the future. On the other hand, sympathy often leads to a mindset of leniency and avoidance of discomfort. Sympathy, in its purest form, is the feeling of sorrow or pity for someone else's misfortune or struggle. While sympathy can create emotional connection and empathy, it can also allow people to stay in their struggles longer than they should. Sympathy may cause us to excuse poor behavior, overlook laziness, or make allowances for things that should be challenged. When we sympathize too much, we may end up enabling bad habits or making it easier for people to avoid the consequences of their actions. This does not help them grow or learn the lessons they need to succeed. Choosing discipline over sympathy does not mean abandoning compassion, nor does it mean being cruel. It means recognizing that sometimes the best thing we can do for someone or for ourselves is not to make things easier or to constantly offer emotional support, but to hold them accountable. Sometimes what people need most is not sympathy for their struggle, but the strength to face it and push through it. True growth comes not from being comforted in our weaknesses, but from being challenged to overcome them. Discipline is what pushes us to take the necessary steps, even when it is uncomfortable or difficult, to build the strength, skills, and mindset that will propel us towards success. Discipline also requires that we hold ourselves accountable. It asks us to look at our actions and habits and recognize when we are not living up to our own standards. It's easy to feel sorry for ourselves when things go wrong, to seek sympathy from others when we fail, and to wallow in self-pity. But sympathy will never push us toward change. It will never motivate us to take ownership of our lives and our choices. Discipline, however, demands that we take responsibility for the outcomes of our actions, both good and bad. It forces us to acknowledge our weaknesses, to confront our mistakes, and to correct our course when necessary. For others, discipline over sympathy is equally important. When we allow others to remain in their pity or self-doubt without challenging them to rise above it, we do them a disservice. We may think we are being kind or caring by offering sympathy, but in reality, we may be enabling them to stay stuck in their struggles, prolonging their journey toward growth and self-improvement. Offering discipline, on the other hand, shows people that we believe in their potential to overcome challenges and rise to their highest capabilities. It's a gift that requires strength and courage, strength to hold others accountable, and courage to let them face their own consequences. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is not to rescue others from their hardships or to offer a comforting shoulder, but to give them the tools and the encouragement to tackle their problems themselves. Sympathy may offer temporary relief, but discipline provides the foundation for long-term success. It is the structure that allows individuals to develop the mindset, skills, and resilience necessary to navigate the challenges of life. It teaches them to become responsible for their own actions and to understand that the road to success is not always easy, but it is always worth the effort. In the end, the choice between discipline and sympathy is a choice between growth and stagnation. Sympathy can soothe our emotions and provide temporary comfort, but it will never lead us to the kind of transformation that discipline can bring. Discipline, though difficult at times, molds us into stronger, more capable individuals. It encourages us to face life head-on and to rise above the challenges that come our way. It teaches us that our choices matter, and that by making disciplined decisions, we shape the trajectory of our lives. Building strong relationships is not just about spending time with others or maintaining surface-level connections. It's about fostering deep, genuine bonds that are rooted in mutual respect, trust, and understanding. A strong relationship is built on a foundation of honesty, loyalty, and consistent effort. It's a relationship where both individuals are committed to the growth and well-being of one another. In contrast, fragile relationships often lack this depth. They are based on convenience, superficial interactions, or dependence on external circumstances. These relationships are more easily broken, strained, or dissolved because they are not built on solid ground. To create strong relationships, one must be willing to invest in them over time. Relationships require continuous effort, nurturing, and attention. This means showing up for the people in your life, listening to them, and offering support when they need it. It's about making the conscious decision to be present, to communicate openly, and to engage authentically. These investments might not always be immediately rewarding, but over time, they build a connection that is resilient and capable of weathering life's challenges. A key factor in creating strong relationships is trust. Trust is the cornerstone of any meaningful relationship. Without trust, a relationship is built on shaky ground, and its foundation can easily crumble. Trust is earned over time through consistency and reliability. When people demonstrate that they can be depended upon, when their actions align with their words, trust deepens. In contrast, fragile relationships often suffer from a lack of trust. Small lies, broken promises, or untrustworthy behavior erode the foundation, making the relationship vulnerable to collapse. Another crucial component of strong relationships is the willingness to be vulnerable. Vulnerability involves allowing yourself to be seen for who you truly are, flaws and all. It means sharing your fears, hopes, and dreams and being open about your struggles. Vulnerability fosters intimacy and connection because it invites the other person to do the same. When both parties feel safe enough to be vulnerable, the relationship becomes deeper and more meaningful. However, fragile relationships often lack this openness. People may hold back parts of themselves, either out of fear of judgment or because they are unwilling to trust the other person with their true selves. This creates a barrier that prevents the relationship from evolving into something stronger. Communication is also a critical factor in creating strong relationships. Effective communication goes beyond just speaking. It involves actively listening, understanding, and empathizing with the other person. In strong relationships, both parties feel heard and valued. They make the effort to understand each other's perspectives and work through misunderstandings in a healthy, respectful manner. In contrast, fragile relationships often suffer from poor communication. Misunderstandings can escalate, and conflicts can remain unresolved. People in fragile relationships may avoid difficult conversations, leading to feelings of resentment and distance. Respect is a vital element of strong relationships as well. When both individuals respect each other's boundaries, values, and needs, the relationship has the potential to flourish. Respect means valuing the other person's time, emotions, and individuality. It means honoring their space and supporting their growth. Without respect, relationships become transactional or one-sided, and this imbalance can quickly lead to frustration, disappointment, and eventual breakdown. Fragile relationships often involve disrespect, whether through neglect, criticism, or disregard for the other person's feelings. These behaviors create friction and weaken the connection between individuals. Strong relationships are also characterized by mutual support. In a healthy relationship, both individuals are there for each other in times of need, offering encouragement, empathy, and assistance. They celebrate each other's successes and help lift one another during challenges. Mutual support strengthens the bond, making the relationship more resilient when tough times arise. Fragile relationships, however, often lack this level of support. One person may be consistently giving while the other takes, or both may be unwilling to provide emotional or practical support when needed. This imbalance makes the relationship weak and prone to collapse when difficulties arise. A critical aspect of strong relationships is the ability to handle conflict constructively. No relationship is free from disagreements or challenges, but strong relationships are able to navigate conflict with maturity and respect. Instead of letting issues fester or escalate, individuals in strong relationships address problems head-on, calmly and respectfully, with the goal of finding a resolution that benefits both parties. They understand that conflict is a natural part of any relationship and when handled properly can actually strengthen the connection. On the other hand, fragile relationships tend to avoid conflict or escalate it unnecessarily. People may resort to blame, manipulation, or passive-aggressive behavior, which only deepens the divide and causes long-term damage. Creating strong relationships also requires the ability to forgive. No one is perfect, and in any meaningful relationship, mistakes will be made. Forgiveness allows individuals to move past those mistakes, heal, and rebuild trust. It means letting go of resentment and not holding past wrongs over the other person's head. In strong relationships, forgiveness is practiced not just for the other person, but for oneself as well. It is an act of emotional maturity that allows the relationship to continue growing. Fragile relationships, however, often harbor grudges. Small mistakes are blown out of proportion, and past hurts are constantly resurfaced, preventing the relationship from moving forward. Ultimately, creating strong relationships requires a commitment to long-term connection and growth. It's about investing the time, energy, and emotional resources needed to cultivate trust, intimacy, and understanding. It's about being consistent in your actions, reliable in your words, and willing to invest in the well-being of others. Strong relationships are built on a foundation of mutual respect, open communication, vulnerability, and shared values. When these elements are present, relationships become resilient, thriving even in the face of challenges. In contrast, fragile relationships are often shallow, dependent on external circumstances, and easily broken. The choice between creating strong relationships and fragile ones is up to us. The effort we put into nurturing our connections determines the strength of the bonds we build with others. In conclusion, life is not about seeking comfort or appeasing everyone around us. It's about embracing the challenges, standing firm in our convictions, and fostering strength within ourselves and others. Leadership, relationships, and personal growth all require us to move beyond fragile foundations of weakness and build on principles of resilience, accountability, and purpose. Tough love, discipline, and the courage to confront discomfort are not acts of cruelty. They are the truest expressions of care and empowerment. By refusing to enable weakness and choosing instead to inspire strength, we cultivate growth, independence, and lasting impact in our lives and the lives of those we influence. Whether in leadership, relationships, or personal development, strength is not optional, it is essential. Let us commit to being strong, leading with integrity, and building a legacy of purpose that lifts others to their fullest potential. The journey may not always be easy, but it is through resistance and challenge that we and those we guide truly thrive.